Concepts Software Technologies Private Limited. He is an accomplished senior IT executive with 30 years of practical experience delivering technology solutions to solve business problems and adding value to clients and enterprises. Currently, she is a consultant in an advisory capacity for the information technology and business transformation at Conceptia Software Technologies. She was very fascinated by this idea and she decided to come from Bangalore all the way. She goes back to so how interested she is, and we are grateful for her here. Rangashri Nair is a professional with experience in the defense sources. As you can see, he has been a wing commander. Then corporate bodies, she is the chairman of a company, and also resource management. If anybody of you want to do a startup, we can raise the money for you up to $3-4 million and also make you grow. And that is what is the main concern at the moment. But she incidentally is also the secretary of the Preventive Management Association and the celebrity professor in the NSS. She doesn't like celebrity, but we call her that because she's not an ordinary teacher. And she's been teaching ethics in the academy, creating new avenues of knowledge. So all these three people are here, not only to listen, but also question Shri on various aspects. And all of us can listen and enjoy. Because the one thing that I have to mention is that the UN Security Council is meeting in a few days from now. Because they see a threat to peace and security in artificial intelligence. So that's an important, because what they are saying is that unless it is regulated, because there is no convention, there is no agreement, there is no treaty on artificial intelligence. So it has to be restricted. So it'll be interesting debate as to how this develops. Scientists will probably oppose it, but politicians will want some kind of understanding. So, and therefore, this is a right moment for us to know something about it so that in the future we can catch up with more. So, Sri, thank you for being in Oslo for us. Sure, you'd have been happier to be here and would have been happier to see you here. But the best is always. So here you are. There's your, you have the floor. Sri Srinivasan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hacha, Ambassador Srinivasan. I am delighted to be with all of you. I'm just sorry I'm not in that beautiful YMCA hall that I know so well. And to be in the company of these esteemed speakers, I am so delighted to be here with all of you. Thank you for making the time and for sharing your insights and wisdom with us. I am coming to you from Oslo, where I am working with the Nobel Foundation Board on various things. We had a board meeting, and then this week I am hosting the Nobel Peace Conference with 5 Nobel laureates, and that's coming up on Thursday, next Thursday. So I hope all of you will join us. It's a free, open online event that you can register for. I'll give you information in just a minute. I think the idea here today is to talk about AI, to understand what are the opportunities, the perils, the limits of AI. And what I'll do is share some slides and thoughts from my workshop, and then we will turn it over to the panelists to ask some questions, and then we'll bring in the audience also as well. We are just at the beginning of this AI revolution in some ways, but in other ways, AI has been around for a very long time. And we will get into all of that as we go this afternoon. So what I'm going to do is share my screen so that we can take a look at some of the slides I have, and then we will get started. So thank you, everybody. My slides will also be shared with all of you, but you can see that I have the slides on a QR code. So if you want to pull out your phone and get the presentation, you can do that right now if you want to grab it. It also has a URL there. You can see bit.ly/3AI. I can see my dad's in the audience, and I'm going to ask him to give me a thumbs up to know that we are, in fact, you can see my video. right now. So yes, I can see everybody's thumbs up. Thank you. And I see my son Krishna there. Krishna, wave. There he is. I don't often see him in a munda, but he always manages to wear a munda there. I also see my wonderful aunt and uncle there. I see this is Jayasri Madhusudanan, and retired Air Vice Marshal TP Madhusudanan is also there in the audience. So hello and thank you for being there and for supporting me all of these years. I am so grateful to all of you. So let's start and let's talk about AI. I also have my WhatsApp number on the screen. If anyone ever has any questions, I'm happy to answer and carry on this conversation. This is the Nobel event I was mentioning. Again, you can use your phone to grab the QR code. Otherwise, I'll give it to my dad, so he will share it with all of you, and you can join and register. There'll be 5 Nobel laureates, all wonderful peace laureates who will be with us, including last year's winner, as well as others who have won in the past. And we'll be talking about peace and human rights at this time. The interesting thing, of course, is that AI is a conversation I'm having everywhere I go. You should know that I've been teaching for a long time. I was teaching when I had hair. I was teaching when computers looked like that. In fact, this person you see in the front who has a laptop, her laptop was, every time she would open the laptop, we'd go, ooh, she has a laptop. And it would last for about 20 minutes before she had to plug it in. And that just tells you how technology has changed. And so this is just 25 years out of 30 years that I've been teaching and just focused on different aspects of technology. So I have done workshops like how to use email, because people used to love the fax machine, as many of you know, or here's how you use the internet. Here's something called Google. People used to love Yahoo or Alta Vista. LinkedIn, I did my first article about LinkedIn in 2006. And LinkedIn is by the way, a great moment for LinkedIn with all the crisis happening right now in social media, with Twitter, with all the changes happening. LinkedIn is where all of us should be paying more attention. It's a wonderful platform, but gets lost in all the conversation about Facebook and WhatsApp and Twitter and all of that. And we know that Mr. Musk is ruining Twitter at the moment. We also have listed out some of the other things that I used to teach. You may not believe this because so many of you love Gmail now, but I had to convince people that Gmail was a good thing and that Gmail should be something we should try. People would fight back because they liked whatever program they're using, including Hotmail. You remember the famous Sabir Bhatia sold Hotmail for $400 million to Bill Gates. And so now I go around teaching about AI. And my social media workshops I've had 25,000 plus people have taken my classes in 75 cities in 25 countries. That was over the last 15 years or so. But my AI workshops are brand new. So I've only done 6 cities, 155. So you're among the first 200 people to take this workshop, which tells you something about where we are in the movement of technology and what else is happening out in the world. I want to, every time we kind of think about tech, I want to remind people that this is really about work and life and that balance that we're all trying to find. And I love this quote from one of my students. He said, we do some jobs for money. We do some for the honor and privilege of doing the work. If we get to do both, we're lucky. And as a teacher and professor and scholar, I've been lucky to be able to do both. And I know many of you do the kind of work that lets you do both, where you have the honor and privilege of doing the work while, of course, also making a living. I like that so much, I put it on the back of my business cards. And when I was at the Met Museum, people would always say to me, Sri, how come you don't have QR codes next to all the paintings? And I would say that's because Americans don't like QR codes. Americans just didn't use them. India and QR codes are an example of technology that took off in India before they took off in the West, before they took off in America. Another example is texting on SMS messages. SMS just was not something that Americans used in any way compared to what people used in India. Same thing with QR codes, and there are other technologies as well, where India was leading America and other places. Now you can see that America is followed, and as you can see on the screen, so many different QR codes different platforms that I'm on, just going from the upper left, that's LinkedIn, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Messenger, Venmo and PayPal are payment services. Then there's Twitter, TikTok, and WeChat. In the middle, by the way, is something called Blink, BLINQ, which is a really good way to, if you just grab that QR code with your camera right now, you'll be able to connect with me, and it puts my contacts into your phone directly, into your contact list. That's why Blink is so good, BLINQ, and you may want to check that out. But in all of this, the main thing there is still the email address. Email and WhatsApp are so important. And by the way, WhatsApp is also something that Americans are only just getting used to. It's not used the way we use it in India. And so that's also an interesting thing. But email still matters, even in a WhatsApp world, in a TikTok world, in an AI world. So we will cover what generative AI is, why it's useful, why it's scary, and its use cases, and do some quick demo and give you lots of chances to ask questions. I thought that this was a perfect quote to start today, and is given by Martin Amos, the novelist, whose birthday it is today. He passed away this year. Bullets cannot be recalled, they cannot be uninvented, but they can be taken out of the gun. If you'll think about that for a minute. Bullets cannot be recalled, they cannot be uninvented, but they can be taken out of the gun, which tells us that we are not helpless in the face of technology. Technology may come and take away our jobs and come after our lives, our society and everything else, but we still have control. As you know, in America, gun violence is a daily constant threat. School shootings happen so often. There have been hundreds of school shootings, just hundreds of mass shootings in America in just 2023 alone. And what Americans don't understand is that the bullets can be taken out of the gun, that we don't have to surrender to the technology. It's politicians, it's people, it's leaders, it's the government that has failed us and resulted in the situation we're in. And what a perfect quote, and on his birthday, no less. Some of you have also seen this cartoon starring the Simpsons, and this is young Bart complaining it's the hottest summer of his life. And his father tells him, remember, this is the coldest summer of the rest of your life. Because obviously, as the planet and everything is happening, it's just going to get worse and worse. It may be the hottest now. So I then use that to create a ChatGPT meme. Bart says it's really scary, and his father says, remember, this is the least scary, least powerful, least important, least dangerous, least problematic, least complicated it will ever be. So what does that leave us? Where does that leave us if this is the worst? So that's why those of you who are here, gathering on a Friday afternoon, we have a chance to try to understand this today before it gets away from us tomorrow and the day after and the months and weeks ahead. Here are some headlines to help you understand where we are with technology and AI. On the left, an AI startup raises a record 105 million euros in 4 weeks. Just imagine that. Both Ms. Das and Wing Commander Nair, both of them work in AI, work in startups, and they'll tell you that that is almost impossible to have in 4 weeks that kind of money. 4 years, you don't get that money. 4 decades, you may not get that money. But that is the frenzy that is happening now. On the right, you see a lawyer used 6 fake cases that ChatGPT just made up and sent it to the judge, so that cases that didn't exist happened. Or a German newspaper canceled 200 jobs because they said AI will take care of it. In universities right now in America, universities are starting this week. There is major confusion about what to do. A professor tried to fail his students because he thought they were cheating. And in different places, they're starting new courses, new classes, because there's this no understanding of what are we going to do with all this technology at the moment. This is a real problem, because whether you're in kindergarten all the way through PhD programs, students all over are starting their work with ChatGPT today. So what does that mean for us? Where do we go from here? What do we do? There's also machines. We are not machines for harvest. There's a revolt against AI already. People are fed up and people are going after these companies. And that's also going to be very interesting to see. And there's an Indian connection here, just as there was with Hotmail. Satya Nadella, as you know, runs Microsoft. He also owns LinkedIn, but his company is the biggest investor in OpenAI, which is the owner of ChatGPT. In the law business, where Justice Dar is from, you know that this is all that's happening here. You're seeing so much going on with the law, with medicine. So many. I'm talking to a group of doctors next month about AI and how they can use it. I'll give you one positive way to look at this. That I had my colonoscopy this year. When you turn 50, I'm 53. This is actually my second colonoscopy. They're very aggressive with Indians here. They believe Indians have a high risk of colon cancer. So my doctor said that the artificial intelligence inside his camera that he uses helps him see many levels beyond what his own eyes and mind can calculate, and that he has saved dozens of lives, is what he has said to me. So there's an example of AI in a very positive way with this doctor. And for those of you who are above 50, especially the men, if you've been told by your doctor to get a colonoscopy, this is my public service announcement to please get one. It is really important. So let's talk about AI and generative AI and what does it do. So I went into Bard, which is ChatGPT's competitor. And you can see on the upper right of my presentation is always a description of the address of the company we're talking about. So bard.google.com. If you have a pen, you can write this down, or on your phone, you can write this down. Otherwise, you will get a copy of this presentation. So I went to bard.google.com and said, what are 3 things everyone should know about AI? And it gave me 3 very good things. AI has a potential to be good and bad. It is still under development. It can be used for many tasks and is very powerful. That's great that it was able to do all that and say all that very easily. So I like that. And then I went into ChatGPT. And now ChatGPT is, you get to that through a web portal called open.ai. And you have to create an account and you go to chat.openai.com and you get ChatGPT. And here it says, I told it, write me a tweet, and it wrote a tweet. We included the hashtag. Let's use it responsibly and explore its potential for a better future. So as you see this, what is different about AI, just because some of you might say that AI has been around for so long, generative AI is different because it is learning, it is generating new answers. It's taking your input and generating new answers. What I've written on top is called a prompt. And that's what one of the skills of the 21st century is going to be what we call prompt engineering. The ability to write good prompts is going to be a skill that all of us need, and to be better prompt writers. And the tool I use most is called monica.im, and it lives with your Google Chrome browser, and it just follows you along once you install it. And you can see here, you can write a short message, medium, long, email, paragraph, article, blog post, outline. Do you want it to be professional, as I do here? Or I switch to witty, and now it's witty. It says AI is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And so these are just some of the tools that are out there. There's also art and artists. And what does this mean? Not just for Word, but ChatGPT has another tool called Dali, D-A-L-L-E. You can see on the upper right. And that is basically the image version of ChatGPT. And this is the beagle that we have in New York, Tara. And so I asked, this is her Instagram account, and I asked her, we asked Dali to make a painting of a beagle eating a dosha. And as you can see, that's a pretty good painting of a beagle eating a dosha. And in fact, looks very much like Tara. And it was created in seconds, not even minutes. And that's the power of this stuff. I also asked it to make an oil painting of someone teaching an AI workshop. and it generated this. And I said, make a cyberpunk illustration of someone teaching an AI workshop, and it did this. So it can do it that quickly. So what I'm going to do next is give you the code, or not the code, but the sheet that explains the best way to make art on any art generator. So if you have a phone right now, you may want to take a picture of this. I'll give you a second so that you have this, so that anytime you go onto the internet to use one of these art generators, you'll want to check this out. And you can see this right now. So you need an adjective, a noun, and a verb. And what style do you want? Do you want it in the style of Van Gogh, or do you want a style of watercolor or pencil drawing? And you put an adjective, a noun, and a verb, and it will just create that instantly. And that's both interesting and scary, as you can imagine. Any questions or comments as we're going through? Please get them ready. We're going to come to you after I finish my slides. We're going to go to our panelists as well. So I'm not going to play this because there's no need to, but what you're watching is not Tom Cruise. This is AI working with video to make things that look real but are not. And it even sounds like Tom Cruise. Let me see if I can play some audio here. I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to try. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear him.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear him?
It's a little embarrassing. You know, it reminds me, once in the Russia, ran into.
So that is a fake Tom Cruise. And as we go into our elections next year in India, in the US, it's going to be horrible what AI is going to do, because these kinds of things were always possible, but now you can do it so much easier than you can do before. So anything you see on WhatsApp starting today, well, you shouldn't believe anything on WhatsApp anyway, but you shouldn't believe anything starting today now that you look at this and you understand it. So please, please be careful. But it's also true about audio. And so I'm going to try to show you another tool called 11 Labs. You can see on the upper right. And what it allows you to do is to take a 1-minute clip from anybody's sound, and it will allow you to make that voice say anything. So here, I'm going to play this. Let me see if the audio works for you.
I am Sri Srinivasan, and I'm here to say my Adidas walk through concert doors and roam all over Coliseum floors.
Can you hear the audio?
I stepped on stage at Live Aid. All the people gave and the poor got paid. And out of speakers.
Were you able to hear that? Give me a thumbs up if you heard that audio. And you saw that I only gave it 15 seconds of my audio. So it's not exactly me, but with a little bit of tweaking, with 1 minute, 2 minutes of my audio, you can imagine what it can do. So the audio that we're going to be getting, I'm telling everybody I know, if you get a message from your father or mother saying, I need money, or from your child saying, I need money, or I'm in trouble, be careful. It may be AI that is used to fool you. That's the danger of this. The audio, the video, the visuals, that's the problem that we all have to worry about as we go through this. And they're now doing this in new languages. They've added about 23 languages. Malayalam is not there yet, but Tamil and Hindi are already there. I'm sure Malayalam will come up. So these are the things that we have to talk about in our Q&A session about what happens with the elections. I took a 7,000 word article and asked it to give me a summary, and it gave me a perfect summary, except it called it a fictional account. It was a non-fiction account. And this is the problem, that the mistakes, the errors may not be in the first sentence. I was lucky it was in the first sentence. What if it's on the 5th sentence, 5,000th sentence, 500th sentence, etc. And there are many, many tools that can help you do this, do various things. So I'm only going to show you one because in the interest of time. And this is a site called RoamAround. And again, Krishna, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Yep. So I'm going to go in here and say where to go in Kochi. Okay. So, oops, sorry. We're going to say Kochi for 3 days. Okay. So I'm going to ask it for a program. And what it will do is it will generate a Kochi program for me, you can do this on Google, right? You'll say, what is so great about this? You can do this in Google, but look how fast it's doing it. Look how it's arranged it for me. And then I can rate it. And so this is day 2. Now I want to make it better. So I want to go in here, make it 5 days with a 10-year-old girl. Okay, suppose I put that in there. Now it will take the same thing and make it into a 5-day program. You saw how quickly it does that. That's the magic of this. So it'll give you more kid-friendly options and what to do and where to stay and everything else. And that's the power of this. This is a tool called RoamAround.io, RoamAround.io. And I encourage you to check it out to see how this can work. And this is that learning, that generative AI that it's doing on here. You can say, make it 4 days and make it with a 25-year-old or whatever. You can keep changing. You can change it. Somebody who likes to walk a lot, somebody who doesn't like to walk, somebody, don't give me anything that requires walking more than a few meters, and it will do that. So those are the things here that you can think of for, this is an example of an AI tool. So please check that out. Again, it's called RoamAround.io, and there are many, many tools that can do this. Some of you have Spotify, the music service. It now has a DJ that is made out of AI. I also love this, the angry email translator. You write an angry email, say, hey, Jim, talking to you is a waste of my time. Please don't email me again. And it will generate for you a nice, soft email. Dear Jim, I hope this email finds you well. So you write an angry note and it makes it nice. I write an angry note and it makes it softer and you can send it. So again, some of this is just kind of fun. LinkedIn is now using AI. And we think of AI as words, pictures, and only affecting those industries. But look at these. These are 100 AI startups in industries like manufacturing and materials, energy, healthcare, finance, farming, legal, construction. So AI is everywhere. It isn't just in the media or media marketing, things like that. It is in auditing and governance. It's in, you can see chips, privacy and security. So all kinds of things are here as well. There's a tool called Resumeio to help make your resume. Whatever your resume is, it'll make it faster and better. And then this is a big part of our conversation, AI content detectors. It will judge your content to tell you if it is AI or not. And what is interesting in this, I took my newsletter and I put it in here and it said 97% human generated. It was, even though it's 100% human generated. What if the professor decides the cutoff is 96%? That's something that we have to think of. What are we going to do in these specific circumstances? And I'll just show you, there's so many headlines. This is about how AI, we think AI can't make mistakes, but it makes mistakes all the time. Here is somebody took her shot on the left and put it in, and look what it did. It made it in, gave her blue eyes, took the MIT logo and messed it up. And why did it do that, right? So in its mind, this is a better person because her skin is lighter and she has blue eyes, right? This is all the problems with what we have in society are also reflected in the algorithms that are doing this kind of work. Here's a website that you may want to write down, thispersondoesn'texist.com. These are all people who don't exist. And every time you hit refresh, they generate a brand new person who has never existed. They look real, but sometimes there are clues, there's a problem. So one of the ways you do it is to look closely at the eyes to see if there's anything unusual about the eyes. Sometimes they have too many teeth, these AI, look at here, too many teeth. Sometimes the earrings are wrong. Do you see? This lady is wearing 2 different earrings. Doesn't mean that women don't accidentally wear 2 earrings, but they're very unlikely to go to a photographer with 2 different earrings. But also look next to the person. Is there something off? Look, there's something off in this. Or they also say, look for 6 fingers. If somebody if you're looking at an AI image and they have 6 fingers, it's likely to be an AI image. But of course, we know Hrithik Roshan has 6 fingers. So what does that mean in terms of success? So I'm going to pause here and just, oops, sorry, I'm just going to I've been writing a lot about this, and again, you can get links to all of this. And I want to turn to our wonderful group of speakers and panelists. This is the point that I've been making, that liberal arts are more important than ever, and we need to focus on our education and what we're doing. The opportunity for all of us to learn and master this is important, but it's also coming at a time when there's just so much going on, and it isn't always possible to keep track of this. And we have a unique opportunity for us to build on this as we go forward. So what I'd like to do now is to ask our wonderful panelists to share their thoughts, and I will ask them to each speak. Our guests are Justice Hariharan Nair and Srimati Geeta Das and Wing Commander Raghushri Nair. So first we'll go to Justice Nair, please. Your microphone is coming. And thank you all for listening, and thank you for your attention. I really appreciate it. While we're waiting, I should tell you that the Wing Commander has a really good LinkedIn post on this topic, which I read. And thank you for writing that. And maybe you'll share some of the points from that when you speak as well. So I'm going to turn off my slides. But just before I do that, I'm just going to make sure everybody has the opening slide again so they can grab the URL if they like. But go ahead, please, Justice.
Good evening, Sri. Am I audible?
Yes, very audible. Thank you.
Yeah. I must confess that I could get only 75% out of what you said because of audibility problems. But then, having a background in this field, I could understand what you meant. Actually, I was expecting that you would paint a very rosy picture about the AI. After hearing you, I am of the view that my apprehensions about AI still persist. See, you mentioned about our progress, about the innovations like QR code, use of QR code and all that. Actually, we have at least one channel in India that is in Kannada 1, where an avatar is delivering news items every day. So we are already there. And after seeing the performance of deep fake and all that, I'm afraid you can't believe anyone performing anything hereafter. Because after after listening to that audio clip, I thought it was the voice of Srinivasan. Was it imitating voice of Srinivasan? I'm afraid.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yeah, but then it is possible to make any avatar deliver the words of the accent or the words of anyone living. Then new videos can be created which are not there. Actually, I saw a picture of Google showing a demo where a spectator's face was used to substitute the performance of a basketball player, where the same person with a banyan of his own color choice performed it, so that anything can be faked. Any figure, any person, any performance, even a dead person can be made to dance. You only give the tune and all that. He can sing. Everything can be done. So unless there is proper regulation, we are in for deep trouble. That's my apprehension. Do you agree with that? Regulation, the role of regulation is very much there. I heard Mr. Srini mentioning here that Security Council is going to meet. Well done. It is very, very essential. Unless regulated, this will be a Frankenstein for the future. That's my view. Do you agree?
Good evening, Shri. It was really interesting to know the various segments that you mentioned. And thank you so much that you read my LinkedIn post, which I wrote today itself. In fact, I was linking this meeting along with that. I would ask a couple of questions related with the ethical consideration on this, where transparency, bias mitigation and accountability, as well as lethal weapons being automated, how would those things come in place in future? Like, this is how the evolving world would be.
Thank you. And thank you again for this post. And thank you, Justice, for your comments. I think regulation is going to be very crucial, but not necessarily effective. As I said, with the guns, some of the places in America that have the highest degree of gun control and gun safety measures and gun laws have the highest gun shootings. And in the world of trolling and everything else, very hard. You can have rules, but if they cannot be enforced, then it's very hard to know where to go. There was a call for Joe Biden to impose a 6-month moratorium on AI development, to say stop for 6 months. But what's the point? He may have some influence in the US, but today someone sitting anywhere in the world can do almost anything anyone can do in the US. That gap is non-existent now. So the ability for anybody, even the UN, to control this is very, very unlikely. And that's why we are here. I mean, I can tell you that the way I look at it, there is a rule against assassinating world leaders or political people, but you saw the head of the Wagner group blown out of the sky in Russia. We all saw that, right? Or there's a rule against, there's a Geneva Convention and a UN against war, but Russia invaded Ukraine and is still there and killing innocent people every day. So the UN can have all the rules it wants and all the security measures, but it comes down to human behavior and how they will behave. And that's something that we have to think about. And since the wing commander brought up the issue of weapons and all of that, she's the expert on this topic, and I want to hear from her. What does this mean for us as a society where already we are worried about weapons and how they're being used and, on a government scale and things like that? Or what about what's happening in Pakistan today, where the government has collapsed and it's a nuclear armed country? What do those conventions and what is our hope there? So I will turn it back to you, Wing Commander, to ask you about that, please.
Yeah.
And then of course, Ms. Das, I want to hear from you also, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a technology person, and I have very much used some of the capabilities of AI. As simple as, just a few months back when I went to Kazakhstan, the language is Russian, and none of us, neither my husband nor I, could understand or speak Russian. So of course, Google Translate and those kind of tools are very helpful in those scenarios. And there are many other examples which you have quoted yourself. But one point I also am very much aware, maybe because of the generational difference that I have, maybe youngsters won't agree, is, so far, whatever technology brought in was to automate menial tasks, mundane tasks, repetitive tasks. But here is something which is automating your creativity or intelligence, and it is overtaking those abilities. And that is something which is causing the scare, that you had a one-upmanship until now with technology, and you're going to lose that. So that is one. And I had a question to you, whether, AI, are there, any research work or anything that is being done where AI itself is being used to counter the ill effects of AI that we all perceive?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for coming from Bangalore just for this. I'm so grateful to you, Ms. Das. Thank you. I think that there's so many good things about AI that, that we didn't necessarily talk about, though I did mention the healthcare aspects. But in terms of the translation, every day using the translate feature on Google Translate, or now, as you know, on Google Translate, you can point your camera at any foreign language and it'll translate it into your language right away in real time. Those are all things that I remember seeing that in a startup in 2012. It was a startup that was doing it. And then now it is an everyday feature in 2 billion phones. So that technology goes, builds on itself, and you and other startup advisors, doers, leaders have a role to play in that, in terms of where are we spending our money? Where are we spending our effort? What are we developing? What are the tools we're developing? Those are the things that we should all be thinking about. And in terms of AI fighting AI, that is already happening. I showed you that chat. Fake detect, whether you're faking your content or not, or whether an AI robot is generated the content or not. There are multiple things like that. Unfortunately, they can be wrong. Remember the professor who failed half his class because he thought they were using ChatGPT. I think as parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, teachers, all of us have children in our lives, neighbors, right? You may not have a kid yourself, but you have a neighbor who has a child, and that child is trying to decide, is it right to use ChatGPT or not? What should I be doing? Give me some guidance. And we as adults need to give them guidance. I'm doing a lot of workshops in these days for universities to talk to them about what they can do. So my advice is very clear. You should have on your syllabus, especially if it's a college, is used to say, you can use AI in this class for anything you want. You cannot use AI for anything except these few tasks, or no AI allowed at all on this class. Those are the options, but you have to tell the students. If you don't have a plan and guidance, then things will go off the rails, right? That's why you have to guide them, we have to guide them, and that has to be done now. I think America had a little advantage because the school year starts a little later. So, but now already everybody in our lives who's got a child in school is using ChatGPT already. And what does that mean for what we're trying to do? This clash in trying to figure out what will happen is this real content or not? Is this fake or not? Is something that we're seeing all the time. And I want to hear from the wing commander if there are in fact military ways in which we can, what are they doing to prevent this from happening? The Pentagon has talked extensively about this and said that they are using tools to stop this. But what happens when the tools themselves become very powerful? That is something that we have to look at when we are looking at any kind of content. So this is one of the areas where there's so much to discuss. So I'll turn it back to you, and any more questions, and then we should also turn to the audience.
Let me ask something to you.
Please.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes. See, I mentioned about my fears with regard to the possible onslaught of AI. But according to me, the benefits that come out of AI far exceed the possible damages also. Only thing is, it should be properly guided. We should guide ourselves and tap the maximum out of its benefit. Personally, I am benefited a lot. See that Chrome has an extension, My Mind. I have put it to maximum use. Then the potential is unimaginable. I asked the AI to draft a treaty for the UN to regulate That also it did very happily. In no time, the treaty was drafted. Then our Indian Supreme Court has started using AI substantially. I mean, not in the matter of deciding cases, but in the matter of translating judgments given every day into the regional language concerned. Then in the high courts also, they have started using it to sift the briefs filed to see whether they contain any defects, and if so, it will not be registered. So that at the threshold, the screening is done by the AI. So gradually we are moving towards that. But lawyers are afraid that their, as you mentioned, their livelihood might be affected because any litigant can pose the question that he would have given to the lawyer that straight to AI, and the AI can definitely say, no use going to court with all this. Lawyer would have said, we'll try, we'll make a trial, come, let us have the details. But the AI will say, no use going, don't waste your money, you have no case. So that is one thing. Then if at all we try to put the AI to use of deciding cases, there is tremendous damage awaiting us, because the human brain is used to understand the situations where a crime is committed and apply humane feelings for deciding the exact punishment to be delivered, etc. That humane considerations may not enter the mind of AI because it works in totally different way. So with regard to use of AI for creating judgments and all that, I don't think it will be of any use. It will be very damaging. But then to expedite matters for screening and translating and all that. No, I am told that in Kerala High Court, copies of judgments are delivered by AI itself. Nothing more is required. You give the number and all that, then it prepares the copy, digitally signs it and delivers. No time. It used to take several months earlier. So that benefits are there, lot of benefits are there. But then this potential danger is also there. So guidance, according to me, I repeat, regulation is very essential. Thank you, Sri.
Thank you very much. That's beautifully said. And thank you for teaching me about mymind.com. I've bookmarked it. I'm showing it to everybody so that they can check it as well. So thank you for teaching me today as well, Justice. So let me go back to our two panelists, Wing Commander or Ms. Das. Do you have any comments? Otherwise, we can go to the audience also. Yes, please. Thank you.
The surveillance now, which is controlled by AI, is raising certain ethical and privacy concerns. How do you see this moving forward? What would be the limitation and framework, legal framework in which the detection, authentication by deepfake on one side and surveillance, how that can also create a complex structure which can create situations where somebody was not there but he is there, and then that kind of a scenario can work up for complicating that situation. I am talking 2 points: one, privacy; the other one is the legal aspects of it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's great. And of course, you know so much about this. I will say, I'll again recommend to everybody, please find her on LinkedIn and see her post today. She explains point by point where humanity will win over the machines. And that's our hope, that we are going to triumph because the machines don't have a lot of the features that we need. In terms of privacy, I can tell you that human beings have always chosen convenience over privacy. And what I mean by that is, some of you will remember when Gmail first came out, we suddenly realized that machines can read our email. And if you said, if my wife said, please pick up some milk in an email to me in the year 2005 when this came out, there would be an ad from my grocery store right in my email. And when people first saw that, they freaked out. And there was a bill that was introduced in the California Assembly to ban Gmail because they don't want people reading my email. Well, you know what happened. Gmail is now the world's most popular email, and it mines your data. Everything you do online is being used. So we as humans have chosen convenience over the ability to have any privacy. I'll give you, since I'm in Europe, I'll give you a couple of examples. In France, a boss is not allowed to email his or her colleagues after 5 p.m. until 9 a.m. No email is allowed to be sent, so that you're free and able to do your work. I mean, to just relax, so that there's that division, right? And multiple countries, it's like that. But in India, in the US, people send emails all the time, WhatsApp all the time. And that has created a culture where we are addicted to our phones. Some of you may remember when BlackBerries first came, the kind of, the ability to message. And we all begged our bosses to get those phones or those machines from our bosses. What we didn't realize is that these machines are going to ruin our lives. They're going to make us 24-hour addicted and working for our bosses 24 hours instead of having that work-life balance. So privacy and convenience are always at odds. And we as human beings, as society, always pick the wrong version, is my opinion. So I have no hope with this. We're also seeing, as you said, with surveillance and other issues, the way these are tuned, that they make mistakes. So for example, based on skin color, they will say that this person is more likely to be a criminal based on their skin color, or the type of hair they have, or their gender. And these machines are making decisions based on these algorithms. And what we need to think about is, as users of this, what do we do? How do we know? In fact, there is an understanding in the West that these automatic faucets, when you go into a bathroom and you wash your hands, they're the automatic, the faucets of water that comes out in the wash basin. And sometimes if your skin is darker, it won't work in American machines because these are all set to white skin. So when they see the brown skin, they don't know what to do. So there is this understanding this is an actual problem in America. Well, a few months ago, I was in Paris and went to the Baccarat Museum. It's a very famous glass showroom. And they tell you, we have the world's most beautiful bathroom. Please come and visit. So I go in there and I put my hand to wash and the water doesn't come out. So I'm saying, oh my God, this is a racist bathroom. I'm ready to be angry and yell and shout. But it turned out it is not an automatic washing thing. There's a foot pedal. You have to press your feet to bring the water out. So there I was ready to be angry about racist bathrooms when it was just a different type of bathroom where you had to use your feet to turn on the water. So there are so many different things going on with this technology. It's human beings at the end of the day. What we put in is what's going to generate what comes out. And if we teach these machines to be, to do the right thing rather than the wrong thing, then we will be in a better place. But I think we're ready to get some audience questions as well. So please, I don't know who there can pass out the microphone. Yeah, there's a question. And hi, Abraham.
Where do I look?
Yeah, I can see you. Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm thoroughly confused. I don't know whether to look at Sri or at you. Who am I addressing?
Everybody.
Continue like this. Okay. Sri, I have very nice thoughts about you when I met you long ago in New York, which I've already discussed in another meeting. Right now, what I want to ask is, are we as human beings moving into a kind of trust deficit with the world? Because you showed some pictures and said that
we should look carefully at the pictures, etc. So I'm worried that I wouldn't trust anyone anymore, number one. And would I be able to form relationships at the human level and bonding? Because what comes on a screen, I would never trust unless I see them in person. So what are the implications? Where are we moving from trust to mistrust? Simple question. Thank you.
Thank you. You say it's simple, but not so simple, but beautifully put. Thank you so much, and really appreciate that. I think that we should all be worried about where we go as society. How do we trust people? So many of us have made friendships with people on email or WhatsApp, or people around the world. And as you're saying, now it's so hard to know whether to trust that relationship or not. What does that mean? Who are we connected to? Who are we talking to? You don't know at any time. One of the things I always tell everybody is if you see something online that's too good to be true, or too bad to be true, it probably is. If it's too good to be true or too bad to be true, don't trust it. And that you see all the time on WhatsApp, right? You see WhatsApp is poisoning our people every day, and technology is doing that, but we're letting that happen to us as well. These machines appeal to our worst instincts, and that's why when we see a video, it may be fake, but we believe it because we want to believe it. We're open to believing it. And so your question about where we go as a society is such a profound and deep question. It's something that I wrote about recently in terms of a pandemic we are having in the US, that we're having a different pandemic in the US than just the actual pandemic with COVID-19. And that is the loneliness pandemic that we have in America. And the problem is that so many people in America have have gone behind, retreated behind their computer screens and their phone screens, and they just spend their time on that, watching all the Netflix and watching all the shows and just interacting only with that, not looking up at the humans around them. And by the way, these are AI generated images that I used for the article. And I'll just show you the wording. So remember we said one of the skills is prompt writing, the ability to write these prompts. So here's the prompt that I used. It said, create a photorealistic oil painting that evokes the feeling of solitude and isolation. Focus on a single central figure. Use a muted color palette. Experiment with brushwork and texture to give the work depth and gritty realism. Incorporate elements of urban decay. And that's what you see here. So an artist would take days to come up with this. The AI does it in a minute. Is this as good as an artist? Absolutely not. But will we see more and more of this? Yes. And that is the issue. So that prompt writing, I could have just said, give me a picture of loneliness and it would have drawn something. But giving this detailed prompt writing is a skill that we need. You might know that the Surgeon General of the United States is Dr. Vivek Murthy. This is the second time he's held the job, and Dr. Vivek Murthy is, the Surgeon General is the person in the U.S. who declared smoking. They say smoking will kill you. All the packages, warnings on cigarettes are from U.S. in the U.S. are from the Surgeon General. So such an important job. And he said the perils of loneliness and many knock-on effects on a person's health. The physical health consequences of poor and insufficient connection include 29% increased risk of heart disease, 32% increase of stroke, 50% risk of developing dementia for older adults. Lacking social connection increases premature death by more than 60%. Loneliness kills. And so we just heard that we are afraid to make connections, but what we're being told is we have to make these human connections. And that's why, in so many ways, what we have in India, where we have extended families connected, living together, living close by, looking after each other, so much better than, unfortunately, what we're doing in the US. So this is all in my newsletter. If you just search Sri Sunday Note or Substack, you will find the newsletter and you will find my discussion of this. But you've raised such an important point, and I thank you very much. Anybody else? I know there was a question. There was at least one more question. I also, while he's coming up, I'll just read a question from my nephew who's watching in Dubai. It says, will AI make college learning redundant for students? Hi, Shivai. Thank you for watching. And I will just say that AI is not going to make college redundant. College is going to be more important because the better trained people are going to stand taller. Anybody can take a photo now, right? I can take a photo with this, but a trained photographer with this camera will take a better photo than me. In a world where everybody is a writer, the trained writer stands taller. In the world where everybody is a painter, the trained painter stands taller. So that's where we're going, Shivai. And I can't wait to talk more about college with you. Go ahead. Hi.
Hi. Hello, Professor Sri. In fact, I'm very happy to see you, and thanks for the briefing you have given, and also to the panelists. As you know, we met in New York during the yoga celebration at the UN. In fact, I have a question and a comment.
Please.
The question is, I know you're a UN watcher, and the UN has been recently discussing about AI, about the regulation of AI. And of course, there is so much concern from the low-income countries and also the middle-income countries, how to regulate AI. I just want to know whether you have any further the latest updates of the discussions there. That's one of my questions. And the second thing is, last week I was attending the International Peace 20 Youth Summit in Kochi, which is, connected also with the G20 meeting in New Delhi. There, I must say that there were discussions, various sessions. One was on skilling of the youths. Here, some of very interesting observations came up that the AI, in fact, is getting, especially the current generation, they are called as Gen Zs, more detached from the reality of the world. So parents are, of course, very much concerned about the trend that is going on. I just also would like to get your observation on, in fact, one of them mentioned that they are even they'll be getting detached even from spiritualism. This is the word used by, one of the participants. So would like to hear your views on what I have just asked. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you've, well, actually, do you mind just staying there for a second? I'd love to hear what else was discussed at that youth center. What, I mean, at that youth meeting. Did you leave with more hope or less hope?
Beg your pardon? Could you please repeat? I didn't hear.
So I was saying, what are the other headlines from that gathering you went to? Did you leave with more hope or less hope about our future?
Well, I find all around less hope. But you are giving hope also. Some hope.
Well, thank you. And I will say that I don't have any details about where those discussions have gone in what you were asking about. But I will say that there's a change, the way I see it, even in a change in the way my generation used technology. And you mentioned Gen Z. We have at least one Gen Z in the room. I can't see the whole place, but my son is there, is Gen Z, and we can ask him also. When I was growing up, when you played video games, there was a thing that people looked out for called cheat codes, where how to cheat to win the video game. That was the priority of my generation. In my son's generation and his twin sister, Durga, they wanted to watch other people and learn how to win in Minecraft or other things. And lots of kids today spend a lot of time watching other people play video games instead of playing video games themselves. It's so different from today. So in terms of, will this Gen Z lead us from here in a different way? A lot of them have very private social media, as opposed to us who post so much on social media, on Instagram and everything else. So I'm not sure exactly where we're going, but I have faith in the Gen Z people to lead us. But they need to understand the dangers, the perils, the opportunity that we have in front of us. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you in New York.
Yeah, thanks.
Any more questions or comments?
Okay, you can see me even if I address the audience?
Yes, I
No
can.
problem. Okay,
Very
okay.
well, yeah.
Sri, my question is about artificial intelligence and consciousness. Consciousness. Now we have biological systems which is self-aware and self-conscious, including human beings. But what is happening to the other part, the metallic part and the silicon? Is it becoming, are you getting a new information that just like human beings, the silicon is also becoming conscious, aware? What is the stage right now? 2-3 things I would like to ask you. One is, right now science has almost agreed that consciousness is fundamental. Matter is not. This is the dialogue going on in the scientific parlance. So the fundamentality of awareness and consciousness is almost agreed by the spiritual people and the scientists. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Then another dimension is for the new direction in which artificial intelligence is moving. I'm told the scientists are not understanding. We are feeding information to the machine learning, deep learning, and all that. But at some stage, the output coming out of the microprocessors or whatever system you have, they are not able to assess how it happens. Just like human beings, we are not able to understand how the awareness comes. What is consciousness? We attribute to the God and various things. Similarly, like here, we understand today the silicon is becoming conscious. With computational mathematics and latest Roger Penrose, Nobel laureate, he is a proponent of the new theory. They are not able to stick on to the old theories of mass, energy, everything. Now, so that is how my question is, whether we are moving to a direction when all other elements are also becoming conscious. നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയില് തൂണിലും തുരുമ്പിലും ദൈവം ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ ഇപ്പൊ ഈ ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസ് ആ ഒരു ഡയറക്ഷനിലോട്ടാണോ പോകുന്നത്? അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ what will happen when the super intelligence become possible? And what about this new direction from ChatGPT 4? It's going to 5, 6, and so on. And there are some restrictions. Security Council has already convened meetings to address this. And there is two views in the international field where Elon Musk and one group is one side and Zuckerberg is another side. So this is a very confusing matter, which is really I am pondering and trying to understand. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very important set of questions that you have raised, and something that we need to think about. So let's talk a little bit about, we thought that it would never happen, that consciousness would be there, but now this is the last line of defense, right? As long as robots don't have consciousness, then we have hope. If they get consciousness, what happens? And this article talks about this. So if you just Google consciousness and AI, you'll get this article that talks about this. There's also an essay, a paper from Cornell University where all these scientists have come up with a checklist of things that we have to look for when trying to understand, is it possible that these computers, the silicon can come alive? Silicon can come alive. What does that mean? Where do we go from here? And what are the ways of telling? Right now, as I said, we can tell that these pictures are fake, because of the ear, because of the teeth, because of the fingers. Well, those machines, the first thing they're going to do is fix the ears, the teeth, and the fingers. Then what will we do, right? We are teaching these machines how to get better every day. And that's why I go back to that original idea I said, that ChatGPT is absolutely the least powerful it will ever be, the weakest it will ever be. This is when we have to pay attention. This is when we should be focusing on it. And 5-10 years from now, it's going to be very hard for us to do anything about ChatGPT because it will be too late in terms of what we can do. And this is so odd that this is the way that the world is now. I will show you a headline that I'm sure you read and heard about in India over the last few months. And then maybe we should start winding up. Someone will tell us if we're out of time. But the leaders of the companies, AI, OpenAI, Google, etc., wrote a letter saying that we are posing a risk of extinction. This has gotten out of control. Their own leaders are saying this. Think about the cigarette industry. They told us for 50 years cigarettes are safe. They lied, even though their own research told them there is no danger. I mean, there's so much danger with cigarettes. They kept telling us cigarettes are safe, safe, safe. This, within months, the AI leaders are telling us that we are not safe, that we can be as deadly as pandemics. So the products they're making, cigarette companies denied it for 50 years. These people are doing it after 50 days, are saying that mitigating the risk of AI should be a global priority, such as pandemics and avoiding nuclear war. It was a one-sentence statement that should scare everybody. All of us should be worried about this, right? That this is as dangerous as that. That's all they wrote. And this is everybody. This is the most important people in AI saying that today. Every other industry, the oil industry, denies that it has any role in climate change. These people are telling us today that look at Bill Gates' name is on this, right? They are saying it today that we are posing a global danger today. That's what they're doing. And so we have to all pay attention. You'll see all kinds of names on here, but it's stunning. It has never happened in history that these people would do just one sentence like this and publish this right now and get this out there because they are so worried about it. There are professors here, there are scientists, and people like that, some well-known folks. The president of the New York Academy of Sciences has signed on to this, warning us all that we need to be worried. Let's read that sentence again. Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemic and nuclear war. That is a stunning statement for the Center for AI Safety to have published so soon. All right, I'm going to pause here. Let's see if we have any more questions. Otherwise, I will look for some guidance from my dad or someone else. Please come up. Let me know how many more minutes we have. I have plenty of time, but I know you all have your evenings.
I'm Dr. Hariman Nair. I'm from the medical side. So artificial intelligence is a reality. We cannot escape from that. And as discussed by our honorable judge, it really creates a lot of good things, positive things, and bad things also. So my question is it possible to regulate it sufficiently strong regulations can be put in, or can we have softwares which are ethically intelligent, not really intelligent? There are two types of people. They are crooked and intelligent, ethically intelligent. Is it possible to regulate it in such a way that we have only softwares which are created or propagated on as ethically intelligent? For example, suppose if I ask a software whether I can kill a person without being caught, it should not answer. So, yeah. So we should think in such a way that all the software which come out and it is really being propagated should be ethically intelligent, and we should be able to regulate properly. So the first equipment or first softwares may be sufficient to do that, but in future there may be softwares which can come out, unethical softwares which can come out. We should be able to regulate it properly. Thank you.
Thank you. And shall we gather some more questions before I answer them together? Is there anybody else who has a question? You can come up, and then I can answer them together, because I'm sure we're winding up here. So anybody else have a question or a comment?
We've been talking about how, as humans, we can control what is going to happen with AI. But how do we control certain humans? I'm just talking about the scary part that you mentioned, which is least scary. What if another Mr. Musk comes up and just owns up everything? So what controls are we going to introduce for that?
No, that's a great question, and thank you. I mean, Mr. Musk has done really important things in the world, but he has also created complete chaos. I met somebody in Stockholm who owns a Tesla, and he said it's the best car he has ever driven. It's the best car in the world, but he is profoundly embarrassed about Mr. Musk. So he wanted to form a club of former proud owners of Teslas. And Mr. Musk is causing enormous havoc, not just on Twitter, but you may have read that through his satellite systems that he has set up, he can help control the war in Ukraine, because the Ukrainian army uses his satellites to do their battlefield work. And he basically, in multiple cases, decided that he wasn't happy with some of the work that the Ukrainian army was doing, some of the attacks, and so he was going to shut down their access. So one man having that kind of power is wrong, and a real problem. But in terms of the question about regulation, this is a question for India. How do we in India regulate this? We have seen what has happened on social media today. The amount of lies, misinformation, disinformation being shared every day, poisoning India every day, is at a scale that is unprecedented. And what can we do to stop them, right? What can we do to stop that just there? And these tools are only going to get more powerful. So how do we regulate that? Can we regulate it? Should we regulate it? Is the question. The leaders are telling us, please regulate us. Even Mr. Zuckerberg went to Congress and to the Senate and said, please regulate our industry. Normally it's the other way around, right? We're chasing people to get regulated. So how do we do it? What are the circumstances? I find that government leaders in all places are not capable of this. They have not studied this enough. I'm hoping it's wrong in India, but certainly in other places, this is a big, big problem. In Scandinavia, they talk about this. Europe, they're talking about this every day. What do we do with this? So I want to end, however, on a more optimistic note, before I hand this back to my dad, to say that the fact that we're all here, the fact that we're asking these questions, the fact that we want to get ahead of this gives me hope. What also gives me hope is that the machines have shown over time that they do fix, as we heard already, the menial tasks, the easy tasks, they do well. But it's humans who can triumph over the machines, but also be in partnership with the machines. Where it makes sense, we should use it. Where it doesn't make sense, we shouldn't use it. But we need to guide our friends, our family, our younger people, our older people about this. And we will see that this will continue to evolve at a pace that we cannot predict today where it will go. But we are also seeing the enormous benefits of this as well. So on that note, I'm going to stop and say thank you all very, very much.
Thank you very much, Sri. Well, I presume that there are no more questions. And this is a case, as far as I'm concerned, the child is the father of the man. So I have learned a lot of things from my child, and his child is sitting here trying to get ready for the rest of the thing. But this discussion was reassuring in one way and very frightening on the other. I think that's the feeling I got. Because reassuring, because all these evils have existed for centuries, whether you are AI or no AI. And mankind finds ways and means of misusing the existence and doing things. And so whatever can happen, you know the story of Oppenheimer, we know the story of Alfred Nobel. These are people who did many evil things, but now they are remembered for the good things in life. So there is always this contradiction. Whatever new knowledge comes, it comes with dangers and also comes with blessings. But we know very little. I know he's spending a lot of time on it. He has become an expert, but we are still learning. The whole process is just begun. And therefore, we need to continue to educate ourselves. And I'm glad some of you decided to spend the Friday afternoon here, and also our panelists. This is a little excessive activity on the part of Kerala International Center. Yesterday, we had a book release for which hundreds of people were there. And today we have artificial intelligence. What has happened to Kerala International Center? We have been rather sleepy in the last few years. But for those who are not, I think almost all of you are members of the KIC or friends of the KIC. But our interest is to be active, more and more active in various areas. And I'm encouraged by the fact that you are here. And thank you, Sri, for sparing your time. You should be doing better things in Oslo, I know. But thank you for agreeing to be with us. I'm sure you did it because of me, but I'm sure they're all grateful to you for whatever has been able to do. Okay, thank you.